this, I'll just go from chair to chair. Look at all these mics set up for me. I love it. Hey, hi, how are you?
Nice to meet you.
What's your name?
Corey.
Corey. Okay, I'm Kerrigan with a K.
And then I said it.
Okay, I'm one. I'm on one.
Oh, oh, wow, that's really loud. Do you even need this? Can you guys hear me if I just talk like this?
Use the microphone, please.
Oh,
Thank you.
okay. Hi, my name's Corey. I live in LA. I've been doing the Morphicon there, and then they asked me if I wanted to come out here, and I was like, abso-freaking-lutely. So, very cool. I think, you know, without a doubt, he's at least in the most episodes in terms of a villain. Goldar. You know, this started in '93, and I want to know just the process of you were doing reindeer voices on random things, and then you landed this. How did it happen?
Gosh, Goldar 100 episodes. How about that?
Wow, well that's kind of a lot of stuff to figure out what you ask. Let's see, reindeer voices. Let's start with the reindeer voices.
Yeah,
Right?
it said in '91 you did random.
Was that 91?
Yeah, it says '91.
Random reindeer
according
voices.
to IMDb.
It's correct, and it's unfortunate. What was the movie? The Christmas movie with the comedian guy. What was it?
Santa Claus.
The Santa Claus. You know, it's funny when I did that job, and it seems to me I watched the movie back in '91, and as I recall, it was not a bad movie, and I watched it a couple of years ago, and God, it was an awful movie. Anyway, geez.
I got 2 sequels.
Yeah, but there you are. I mean, you know, what I say is an awful movie, and it made $1 billion, and what do I know? Yeah, okay, well, you know, that's cool. No, that's great.
It's a party there.
No, it's all a challenge. It's an exercise. I compete with that. I can do that. Anyway, yeah, one of the great voiceover actors in Hollywood is Frank Welker. And Frank has done you know, if I've done 1,000 characters, Frank has done 10,000 characters. If I can do 50 voices, Frank can do 500 voices. For real, he is the king. And I have always been in the utmost respect of his talent, and he's so low key and wonderful. And somehow we were both picked. I can't remember if Tim Allen, I don't recall if he directed it. I don't think he did. No, he didn't. Anyway, he was there, and the director was there, whose name escapes me. And you know, when you guys picture this kind of stuff, you think, oh, no, it's all a big thing, and oh, no, it's not a big thing. You're in a little studio, and it's all really kind of not very exciting at all. Frank shows up for a gig, I show up for a gig. Hey Frank, hey Kerrigan, hey, what are we doing? I'm not sure. Nobody really knows what the gig is about. Well, as it turned out, the gig was really pretty cool. We didn't obviously know the movie. The movie hadn't been released. The movie, was in what we call post-production. And so the director explained, listen, we've handpicked you guys. I was extremely flattered that I'm handpicked next to Frank Welker to start to create voices for the reindeers in that movie. And you know, this is a dirty little gray area in Hollywood. Well, what are they going to say? Oh, we don't know. Oh, you don't know? Well, where are the writers? Oh, the writers are long gone. You're the writers. Really? That's kind of not part of our contract, but you don't argue. You're just happy to be there, and of course, they know, and that's why I was handpicked. I'm not flattering myself, but they know I'm a writer, and I think Frank did some writing, and so basically it was up to us and Tim, who's funny, sharp, quick, and we were all there, not only to voice and come up with voices for all these different reindeer, but to come up with some really fun, crazy stuff as they're sitting there waiting on the roof, you know, for the Santa Claus, for Tim to come out, and so I thought, wow, what a cool, innovative idea that the reindeer are actually going to have, we're giving voice to the reindeer, you know, and it was fun. I mean, we came up with all kinds of great stuff, curmudgeon-y, and you know, oh boy, I'm glad when this is over with. You're just getting started, pal. I've been at this for 3,700 years, you know. Really some fun lines. And we probably laid down 100 lines and maybe 35, 40 different characters between us. And it was like, wow, this is really gonna be the coolest because it was really, really good. And somehow, this is one of those Hollywood tales, somehow it was decided, nope, we're not gonna use any of it. It's like, why? And then in watching the movie myself again a couple of years ago, I was like, oh, you so should have totally used our shit. Because, you know, you needed it. And then, you know, I mean, in watching it, seeing, again, the opportunity, not only the opportunity was there, but we did it. It was all over the map. I mean, we really had some good stuff. So, you know, those are one of those tales that you just kind of go, wow, we still got credit because they used a little grumbly here and there's a little like, yeah. It's like, well, you know, what is that? It's like you didn't even commit. It's like, you know, the audience is watching going, what was that? Sounds like one of the reindeer were like grumbling or something, you know, so they couldn't make up their minds. But we still get residuals and we still got a credit on it. So, you know, long-winded answer, but moving to Goldar, I think that was the second part, how that came about.
Just initially the landing of it.
Well, again, that's not terribly exciting. I wish I could say it was a huge audition process and oh my God, there were thousands of us and oh geez, it came down to whatever, and none of that's the case. We meaning there's probably 100 of us, call it like a voiceover acting troupe. And we all go back to a show you might remember in the mid-'80s called Robotech. And there you go, somebody not quite my age, but you're getting there, pal. As my dad said to me one day, you have no idea what you're in for. What the hell are you talking about? I get it, Dad, I get it. So Mike Sorich and Dave Mallow and Axelrod, Barbara, myself, I think that's it. We were all handpicked by Tony Oliver, who traded hats as an actor and became a producer. He was Rick Baker. Rick Baker was the lead in Robotech, I think. He was the star of Robotech. And Robotech was kind of the kickoff of my voiceover career. By accident, I really stepped in it. I got really, really lucky. I was a struggling actor on the streets of Los Angeles wondering where my next play was and where my next meal was coming from. But that's a story I might tell, depending on how much time and depending on how long this horse shit goes on outside. Sorry, please. Are there kids? Hold on, let me see, are there kids? I gotta watch my mouth.
So you're entitled one
horse.
F-bomb.
I mean horse dung. Horse dung.
Did you actually? It's funny. Like I did a Q&A for Bride of Chucky, and you know you have the bride and you have Chucky, and it's interesting because I'm sure Power Rangers was going so fast and you recorded so much. But were you with Barbara in the same studio? She was across the way, or were you doing your own lines by yourself always? Or?
None of the above. When you dub, it's called single tracking. Single tracking meaning I'm going into the studio alone. Has Barbara recorded? Maybe. I have a script. I have a director. The ADR director was Scott Page Pagter, who I'm sure some of you are aware of. And we're all by ourselves, Scott and Kerrigan. And if Barbara has already recorded, I have what she's recorded in my headset. So obviously I'm going to hear that prior to saying my line. And if she has not recorded, and I'm recording before her, I have the script, so obviously I'm reading the line she would have said, and I'm then reacting to a line that has not yet been recorded. And I still have my headphones on, because my headphones are my God. My headphones are my monitors, just like a rock and roll singer. I need to hear exactly the placement, and especially with this character. And I need very hot, hot headphones, as hot as they can get without feedback, because I want to hear the exact placement. Like when I just did the voice there for a little bit, or when I do it out at my table, I got to be very careful, because I'm not hearing without doing this, where I can hear exactly what I'm doing and where the placement is, to make sure I'm not hurting my voice or scratching the chords, as they say. So, in answer to that, yeah, we record by ourselves. That is not the case with original animation. Original animation, we're all in a room together, for the most part. Sometimes an actor can't make it. Somebody will read his or her lines, and it's a whole different process. But dubbing is by yourself, single tracking, and that's the way that works. As far as how we got the roles, we were all assigned these roles. And Goldar was a very small character. Nobody paid any attention, and Tony kind of said, and Kerrigan, go ahead and do the guy with the wings. He doesn't have much of a part. And that's why people say to me, your voice sounded very different in the first dozen episodes. And that's because I only had a line or two, and I wasn't paying any attention to this character at all. I was just going in and dropping down, a couple, and of course I wasn't committed. And it's a terrible thing to say, but I really it was a throwaway. And I wasn't worried about what it was doing to my voice, because there was nothing there. It's 2 lines and I'm done. And then Tony calls me at home so many weeks later, because like you said, it's really going fast. It's all happening very fast. When we read for it, we all left the studio after reading what's called the teaser or the promo, and we all shook our heads and said, well, we don't have to worry about any of that. This thing ain't going anywhere.
Everyone kind of thought
We sure called that one right, didn't we? Well, those guys know what they're talking about, don't they? Yeah, they're seasoned, they know. And so then we did get the call about 6 weeks later. Yeah, that show's sold, we're doing it. And I'm like, really? Okay. So I went up and recorded for, like I say, about 12 episodes, and we did anywhere from 1 to 3 episodes a session. They were writing furiously, trying to, keep up with the order, is what it came down to. And then Tony said, hey, you better figure out what to do with that voice, because this character is a major character. We screwed it up, and you got to do something with that voice, because that voice you're doing sucks. And I said, you're right, but what do you mean? How big is this character? He said, it's big. I said, oh, okay. And I had a little basement in my house, in a little house I had in Burbank, and I played drums in that little 12 by 12 basement. So I went down into the basement and spent probably an hour working out the voice and seeing, where and how can I make this thing work. And, I've already recorded 14 episodes, so it had to be somewhere in the vicinity. And this was the choice. I didn't just throw some stupid, goofy voice on the character. It was, you look at a character as a voiceover actor and you go, okay, you're going to pick something that's in the ballpark of what that character looks like. So, you know, and inside of about 45 minutes, I found a placement that really was kind of exciting. It was like, wow, I'm really rolling a lot of air over the vocal cords, and the voice got, you know, 3 times bigger. And then I recorded some of it myself, and I was like, this is going to work nice. And I went in and recorded. Nobody asked what I was going to do or not do, and I said to Scott, you know, I've changed the voice, and he made the adjustments on the mic, and it came back that they all loved it, and just be very, very careful that, you know, you enunciate so that we understand what he's saying. And sometimes that was hard because, you know, they jammed too many words, and we did a lot of rewriting in the studio and adjusting for sync, and, you know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on, you know, the small stuff that I won't bore you with, but details. So that's it. I mean, that was it. That was Goldar's birth, and
What about improvising him? Were they making you stick to the script pretty hardcore?
no,
or?
we did a lot of rewriting in the studio. As far as improv goes, not traditional improv, because we were, believe it or not, trying to you know, get it as the best we could to the lips, and the lips in this stuff were kind of nuts because they made little sense of what he was doing. There was an argument for probably the first year, maybe, as to are we really going to work at good sync, or is the idea to actually not have good sync, and that's part of the humor or parody. So everybody was finding their way with the show. And of course we had no idea this was the hit until the live show, when I couldn't get to the live show from the traffic. I couldn't get to the show. I could not get through the gate. I couldn't get to the gate where I had a pass. And I knew the shortcuts to get in to Universal another way. And the guard at that gate didn't have my pass, and I'm now down to, this is a live show. I mean, there's nobody to do me. And the 101 freeway is stopped. I said to the guard, I said, listen, I don't want to be a smart ass, bro, but your job's at stake. And I'm 20 minutes out, so you better get on the phone real fast, because I got to get in here and parked and on that stage, and they're freaking out right now on the stage. And about 1 minute. Thank you. And I raced off and jumped in, and I'm on the wings, and off we go. And that's when we really knew, holy moly, this thing is big. And there was a lot of controversy in the beginning too about after the first year, the violence, and, you know, you got to tone it down, and do we tone it down, don't we tone it down, and, you know, the arguments were made, oh, come on, I mean, you know, look at, you know, all the crazy cartoons in the 50s and the 60s, and it got pretty stupid, but then it was kind of toned down. Anyway, we were off and running, and it was probably the most fun I had in my whole voiceover career. That whole period was really fun because we were on a hit show, and it's always fun to be on a hit show. It's fun.
Well, when it did take off after that first year, I mean, you did 110 out of 155 episodes. So,
Is that
you know,
right? Is that
yeah, it's 100.
155?
Not to mention when like Goldar returns and has an appearance, but in the original 3 seasons, it was 110. I'm sure, yes, it was guerrilla work, but what would you feel comfortable saying? There was, you know, obviously with the actors coming back, you know, they had to recast like 3 of the leads in season 2. You know, there was just, the show was making $1 billion. Were you just really happy to be there, or did you say, like, can you pay me another $2 an hour?
I love this guy. I mean, you know, that's another 20 minutes here. This was a problem. The money was a problem. The show was non-union. I'm not going to get into what that means necessarily, but some of us were union, And we really had no business doing the show at all. And, you know, we were struggling with the union, trying to make them wake up to get Saban, and that goes on and on and on and on and on, and it gets deep, 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 and we won't go down a lot of those roads. But what occurred, to answer your specific question,
Yeah.
Austin came to me because I'm kind of senior, meaning the voiceover people were senior, obviously, to, you know, the Power Rangers. They were 18. We were in our 40s. I mean, we were seasoned actors. And he said, what do we do? And I said, well, considering who you are dealing with, we'll leave it at that. You better have everybody to get that raise. Because they were really being worked to the bone. I mean, these kids were doing 7-day weeks and 12 and 14 and 16-hour days. And I'm not going to share with you what they were getting paid because I'm just not. You can look it up.
Like McDonald's pay.
Yeah, when it comes out to the hourly, if you broke it all down, it's probably about McDonald's pay. And Austin had it, and he said, look, the only way you do this, in my opinion, I said, look, and you do what you do, Austin, you guys have more juice than we do. At the same time, Goldar and Squat and Babu and Rita are now, and at the time, I think, Robert Finster at the time, we were well established in that first year. And we knew we did go in for our raise, but we knew enough to know that when we went in for our raise, nobody was going in alone. We went in number, all 5. We were the fearsome 5. And we weren't asking for, you know, we weren't trying to tip over the Christmas tree. We just said, look, it's time, this was bumped up from this to this. Or it's time to go union. And he was going to have nothing to do with that. So from there, I said to Austin, you better all go in together. And he said, what happens if we don't? I said, I don't have a good feeling. It could be bad. He came back to me in about a week and a half. Again, came back, meaning we're passing ships basically in the sound studio. They come up to do their ADR. I come in from Los Angeles up to Magic Mountain recording in Valencia, 35 minutes, which we bounced around in town a lot in the first season, and then it was established that's where we were going to record, up there. That was our kind of where we met, if you will. It's like, okay, I'm gonna be up there. He said, I'll see you. And he said, well, we got 3. I said, okay, what 3? And, you know, it was everybody but Amy and, the Yellow Ranger and Walter and him. And I said, so you don't have Amy and you don't have David? No. I said, well, David doesn't matter, but Amy does. With all due respect to David, I'm sorry, but Amy mattered. And I said, so she's not going to join? He said, no, she's sticking with the things as they are. I said, well, yeah, it's a tough one, buddy. I don't know what he's going to do. And I didn't. I said, I don't know. You either stay the course, or you better be prepared if you're gonna be hard-nosed. You know, he might say, bye. And Austin said, I don't care. If he says bye, I'm out. I said, well, you better make sure the other 2 feel the same way. And that was it. And they were out. That was the end of it. They were fired. 1, 2, 3 gone. See them. And that was the end of Austin and Walter and Twee. Yeah. And they were blown out as fast as this panel is going to be over. They were off the set before the end of that shooting day and replaced that quickly, and that was the end. And you know, I even took note, you know, wow, he'd fought. I think Goldar'd be gone if I went in alone. At least I certainly wanted Barbara with me. You know, the other three, you know, they're good. They were good pad, and Dave was always like, eh. And Robert and Dave were always the ones that were tricky, because they didn't want to rock the boat, but we always got them to rock the boat because we wanted everybody, and we always got our raise. Every time we got our raise. The best part was when he offered us the amount we make. This is no joke. I'm not kidding you. These are terrible. I'm telling you things out of school here. When he offered us the amount of money that we made for an episode for the entire movie, the 1996 movie, meaning my part in the movie, he offered me. We were offered what we made for an episode, for the whole movie. It's not to be believed, and we all said no, it's out of the question. Then he replaced us with some of our, our cronies took our roles, which we were like, ooh, that created a serious wedge in our little group of voiceover actors. And needless to say, that didn't work out for them. And we got a decent amount of money to do the film, and it was a substantially more than what we were getting an episode. Let's put it that way.
So with you, and you seem to be very close to Barbara, and I've seen
We're
her at
best
all the
friends.
cons. Yeah.
We're best friends.
I mean, the Rangers all have chemistry, all the actors themselves, and obviously in any movie, but I guess in voiceover work, I feel like the chemistry is fantastic amongst the villains and everyone. So what was it like working with just your everyday, I mean, you're filming 100 episodes, you're together all day, 3 days a week, and what was it like? Were you guys as much of a family as the Rangers were?
Well, we were a family. We were a family from recording and doing so many other projects from the past, and projects that we would all work together on that were not Power Rangers. But again, we were not working with each other. We were passing ships. I'd walk out, Barbara would walk in. Barbara might have 5 lines. I just finished 40 lines. And I wait and we go to lunch that day. She might be scheduled at 3 o'clock another day, and I'm scheduled at 11, and we don't even see each other that day. So, you know, that chemistry was built in from history of years and years and years of working together. Same with Sorich, same with Mallow, and same with Robert. The 5 of us go back to Inner Sound and, like I said, Robotech, and gosh, we must have done probably 24 projects for Saban before Power Rangers. You know, a thing called Mapletown, and something I directed that I can't remember the name of. Hello Spencer, and you know, all kinds of stuff. You know, he didn't know anything about the dubbing world. We taught Chaim Saban what this was all about.
Why, actually, just out of curiosity, would you not, if Barbara's going to come in at 2 and you're there at noon to do an episode, wouldn't it just make more sense to just do both of you at once? Why aren't you together, I guess, when you're recording?
Because it plainly doesn't matter. It's scheduled to do with when the actors are available. You know, Barbara may have another job, or she has a looping gig, and she's not available until this time at this day. So, you know, again, it's called single tracking. We don't need the other actors in there. There's no need. It's just not, you know, nobody's world revolved around Power Rangers.
Yeah.
The Power Rangers revolved around us.
how many other projects were you working? I mean, you have 99 IMDb credits, so how many were you working on as you were doing 1993, 94, 95?
Meaning episodes
Yeah,
of?
like if Barbara was doing this at 11 a.m. and then coming doing Power Rangers at 2, were you doing the same thing? Were you doing,
Well, I mean, I might have had a looping session that went till 1 in the afternoon, or a looping session that went all day. I couldn't even be there on Tuesday, and I could get in to record on Wednesday at whatever. You know, there was a point at which I was doing Team Night Rider. I was doing promos for Sweet Valley High and Breaker High. You know, we're just bouncing from one job to the next, and traversing that lovely Los Angeles traffic all day, every day, 5 days a week, which only just got worse and worse and worse and worse. There actually used to be shortcuts in the day. You know, in the 80s, you know, there were all kinds of shortcuts. Hauser, and you could cut through here and over there and through there, and you could do it. And then somewhere down the line, it reached a point where nothing worked. Nothing worked. And that's half the battle down there, is getting from one job to the next. And then, of course, you got auditions. You're not just you're not being handed jobs. You got to go in and audition for stuff. You got to go to the voice caster on audition. You got to go to your agency and in some cases sign in, and you're waiting an hour and a half just to get into the booth to read down 9 pieces of copy. Be it promos, be it commercials, be it an animation project, be it something you don't really even know what it is, and you're reading for it. And, you know, I've got stories of stuff. You know, I did a thing, walked into a studio, called my agent, I said, I don't know what's going on, but they got a metronome, and it feels very rock and roll, and it doesn't feel like anything I've ever experienced. And he said, well, I'm not sure what's going on, just do whatever. Now I can't think of the name of the damn thing. It went platinum, and my agent screwed up the contract totally, and it's like that tune, all the little girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy. That tune, that's me. That's me.
legit?
Legit. I am the guy that says, all the little girlies say I'm pretty fly for a white guy. That's moi. Yeah. Watching TV in another room. And it's a big studio, but it's a music studio. And I said, there's something up here. I am recording, I'm matching somebody, some huge dude. You gotta look into it. They never did look into it. Well, as it turned out, the contract had to be dealt with prior. I got the job. This was an audition. Well, then I went in to do the job, and I said, this is very weird. And he said, and I'm with a big agent. He said, well, let's just feel it out. I'll look into it. Nothing came of any of it until finally, I can't think of the name of the band. It was big.
Offspring.
Thank you, Offspring. I never can think of it. And so I go into the store, into the big record store, Tower Records in Burbank, and I said, could you play that tune, Offspring, for the thing? And my girlfriend at the time said, that's you. And I'm like, holy Jesus. Now I call my agent and said, the tune is Offspring. It's me on the track, and we got scale. Let me look into it. Please do.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was a year down the line. It's over, and I got royalties, not residuals. I got royalties on Offspring for years based on what I was originally paid. And if I had really been paid, and they were willing to, they would have been happy. They had a match. They had their match. The guy, the big rapper that they couldn't get, that wouldn't do it or whatever, they were going to pay him $100,000. They'd have been happy to have paid me $5 or $10 grand, which all those royalties would have been based on that price. But as it was, they were based on $422. And the royalties were coming in at $1,200. based on a 400, so that was one of those screw-ups. But yeah, I've never told that to a panel. That's me on Offspring. So next time you hear the damn thing, that ain't no black rapper.
So I have two more questions, kind of a double one though. But you talked about when you go in an audition for voiceover work in a character. I know in my experience, sometimes you go off of nothing. You have a drawing, something. But there were already episodes filmed of Power Rangers. But so I'm guessing you did have a video of Goldar, and you knew what he looked like, and you just, whatever.
Yeah, 9 times out of 10, you do have drawings, or like you said, video. And so, as a seasoned VO guy at the time, you're going to throw probably 3 or 4 variations on that character. And then the producer in the studio is going to go, I like that, and do a little of that with that. Oh, good, boom, beautiful. You're off and running. On occasion, it's something really offbeat or weird that you're trying to make, because the character is so weird. But there was nothing so weird about, Goldar's obviously just a very scary badass. So, it's not going to be some nerdy voice, obviously, unless it's a huge comical parody, right? So.
Well, I guess that was part 2 of the question is, Goldar starts off, he's totally a slave to like Rita and kind of like, yes, ma'am, but he actually gets way more comical as he progresses through the seasons, and then in the movie it's different, but what do you think of Goldar as a character, the way that he starts in that first episode?
I think Goldar should have been left alone. Now, you're asking writing questions, not actor questions, which I can appreciate, because there sometimes is a tough demarcation line, especially with audience, we as audience members love to say, I love when Liam Neeson says, it's like, you said the key word, he says. Who wrote it? He didn't write it. So I didn't write Goldar, and I wasn't happy about this going off into this goofy land. I thought it was very confusing, and I didn't understand why are we turning this into what's happening here. And I don't think they knew what was happening. I think they were a little confused as to what to do and where to go, and I don't have any say in this. I don't, put my foot down and march upstairs and say, now look, goddammit, this isn't my character. It's like, well, you know what? It's not only not your character, it's no longer your job. So, you just do the best you can with whatever the choices were and or are. Sometimes you get lucky. When I did a show called Team Knight Rider, I was the voice of the Ford F-150 truck. I'm sick that the show didn't go, because it would have retired me. But they gave me tremendous leniency with the writing. They really, the producers were tremendous. They were right there in the booth, and they saw that I had an ability to come up with lines that were, in some cases, better or funnier, and they let me go. They let me go, and they did the same thing actually on a show I did called The District with Craig T. Nelson. I was the shock jock, the political shock jock, PJ Hawk, and the associate producer let me go with rewriting a lot of it because it was. I said, what about if he says this instead of that? And he said, yes. Now, I always laid it down the way they had it in the script, and then we'd lay down mine. And mine won out every time. But, now I write. I've been writing for the last 10 years. So, and some actors have more ability to write than others. A lot of actors don't want anything to do with writing. They don't want to write a thing. A lot of actors don't want anything to do with improv. They want it all scripted, and that's exactly the way they want it to be. And others love to improv. So, anyway, I'm rambling, guys. Do you have questions?
Yeah, we can do 2 or 3 questions. Yours was first, and then I'll come down to you. Yeah, go ahead.
My question, and for Mr. Mayhem here, have you ever seen Goldar from the movie with starring Elizabeth Banks?
If that was Goldar, I'm not sure what that was all about.
Yeah.
I was talking about Goldar.
Yeah, I know. I wish Goldar had.
I
been in
think
the
he's
movie.
wondering what you thought of.
I thought the
of
movie was
character.
awful. I thought the movie was absolutely awful.
Would you like me to show you Goldar?
No, I don't want to see Goldar. I saw enough of it. I don't know what they were doing with that film. And I would be the first to say this isn't bitter. It isn't embittered. I don't mean it that way. And I'd be the first to say, you know, my character got a little screwed, but the movie was pretty damn good. And what they did with my character was interesting. I didn't think any of the above. I thought my character was absurd. I don't know, they didn't know what to do. I don't know what it was all about. And as to the rest of the film, I thought the acting was ghastly, which is usually never the case. You never walk out of a movie going, You always go out when it's not working. The actors are the last thing that get scorned. Usually it's the script and or the directing, or the music is too, not, you know, the score is crazy. Everything about that thing, in my opinion, guys, and again, I mean, the diplomatic thing for me to do is to say, you know, it wasn't a bad movie. I thought it was pretty good. Well, no, I thought it was absolutely horrific. My God, one of the characters says they said the same line 27 times. It was like, wow, this is really bad. And I think the biggest problem I have with the whole thing is finally, I would like and hope, and I pray, and I would ask you, please call Hasbro and tell them you want to see a real big bitchin' movie with Goldar in it. And I was never dissolved to sand. I never died. Guys, I never died. I never died.
You were right here, and
What was your experience with voicing Night Defender? Was that also? Did they also call you for it, or did you audition?
Again, I didn't have to audition, and again, that's rare. I mean, in Hollywood, that's very rare. I mean, you'd be stunned at the people that you see auditioning. You kind of think, wow, are you kidding me? He's auditioning? I mean, people you've seen on TV for years. No, Scott called me and said, I think this character coming up has your name on it, and I'd like you to come in and record it. And I said, great. He said, it's about 10 episodes. I said, okay, let's do it. And I was pleasantly surprised. One of the best written characters I've ever recorded, and the story arc, and there was a prime example of a character. I didn't just jump in and, you know, start knocking down lines. I took time with it and watched the footage and, you know, really got straight on what was happening here. And, you know, I decided to watch it about 3 years ago. I'd never seen it. I wonder if I was as good as I thought I was 25 years ago, whatever. And I sat there in my living room, watched all 9 episodes by myself. You know it's messed up when you're crying at your own damn performance.
was there any other characters you almost had that almost said, hey, would you like to play another character?
No, Scott called me. We did things they called them monsters du jour, which was, you know, the monster of the week, whatever the generation might be, and I did some of that. Jeb the Talking Dog, of course, I attached Nicholson's voice to it, and they were all very concerned they were going to be sued. And I said, well, we can do it something else if you want. I just thought it was fun and cool, and we're not saying we're Jack. So, and it took about a week, I think, for them to decide, are we going to go with it? And they decided, screw it, we're going to stay with the voice. And I guess we never heard from Jack because I did 2 seasons.
One more question if you want. Yep, you go ahead.
So big fan of Goldar because he never got his place in the kingdom. In other words, if Goldar have his final say to the Power Rangers. If he was to defeat the Power Rangers permanently, what would be his first words afterwards?
We're back to writing, aren't we?
But you get to write it.
Yes.
I think it's something along the lines of,
I will be back.
That works.
no, I really hope, Hasbro's reputation is tremendous. And they are notorious for keeping original voiceover people, as is testament to Transformers. Transformers is testament to a $1 billion franchise. And I'm hoping they write a magnificent Power Rangers movie of all of the above. And
I wanted to say hello to you. Thank you for
thank
everything.
you, my goodness, I'm so honored.
I was so
Check
excited.
This out, man.
I was so excited.
Check this out. It's the green and the white and the Goldar and all the shit all together.
I was excited to see the Q&As. Oh, I was excited for your Q&As. I've been telling everyone, hey, you got this awesome Q&A. We got so much stuff. Just wanted to say hello to you. Thank you for trying to kill me all the time.
I loved every minute of it. I'm just sorry I didn't wear my suit.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, Jason.
That
That was
sort of
pretty-
ended.
that was
The
pretty cool.
Time is up, but no, I mean.
I want to finish
Yeah,
with
you
the
last word,
Hasbro.
go.
Hasbro, I want to believe is going to come up with an awesome film that's going to answer a lot of questions in answer to what you just asked. You know, what finally is our motive here? What are we trying to accomplish? You know, what's our problem with the Earthlings? You know, and God knows they have plenty of excuse now. There's plenty of problems. So anyway, yeah, I think there. You know, and I see I got a pop that came out after all this.
You're
and
a toy.
Yeah, well, I was a toy,
You were a toy for
but now I got
everyone.
another toy, and I got a pop, and I got a video, and it's like, well, there must be something in the works, isn't there? You know, why would you be bringing out all this Goldar stuff if you're not gonna? You spent $500 million on the damn thing, so something's up, isn't it? Please call Hasbro, guys. I need the work. Take one more.
One more go. Okay. Right.
Have you seen the upcoming Goldar action figures? Because there's a lot of detail into it, and also they're going to do the Magna Defender, which I hope to get both of those signed by you.
Wow, I didn't know about Magna, and I did see pictures of the new, what would be considered the original Goldar action figure, kind of a retro version, and there is more detail in it. And that's what I was referring to. What is all this coming out with all this stuff? And it's gotta be a big, beautiful $100 million movie, baby. Come on, pick up the phone. They listen. The other guy didn't listen, but these people, they're gonna listen to the fans. They pay close attention to the fans. I'm at my booth. I'd love to see you all. Some of you I have. I'll be here tomorrow. I'm thrilled to be here. This has turned out to be a really good show. And I hope you're all having a good time. I am.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks again.
I know you were the voice of now.